The adoption of our Declaration of Independence, July the 4th, 1776. 238 years ago this weekend, and this weekend we celebrate Independence Day all over America. And the way we usually celebrate it, as I did growing up, all kinds of ways, from barbecues and cookouts and baseball games and concerts. I've seen political speeches, fireworks. Everybody loves fireworks and picnics, and also family reunions. Nothing like getting together with family on July 4th weekend. We're having a long weekend here. We're dead in the middle of a long weekend. We hope everybody's having a happy and safe holiday this weekend. And I want to tell you, a lot of traffic, as you already know, is out on the roads. You got to be careful, and the best way to make sure you have a good trip is to plan ahead of time. You got to make sure your vehicle is ready. Before you head out on a long trip, make sure you pop the hood, check the oil, check the fluids, check all the airs in the tires, check your vehicle over good, and know your vehicle. Know where the jack and the spare tire, how to get it down. You must know your vehicle. Also have an emergency kit. Always pack extra water and cooler and flares, flashlights, something in that emergency kit. So make sure you have that. And if you have items like carriers on your vehicle, properly store those away. Make sure they're locked down good, got the straps on good. And if you're towing a vehicle, make sure, because most of us don't tow a vehicle every day, so that means that trailer probably hadn't been used in a long time. So make sure you get it out. Make sure it is still roadworthy. Plan your trip with all the internet now and the Google Maps and all that stuff, MapQuest. You can get directions wherever you need to go. So know where you're going before you ever leave the house. And make sure you fill up that tank before you hit the road, because you never know out there. Number one, what gas is going to cost if you get in the wrong area. Just always plan ahead. Now, here's an interesting story. Lou Gehrig, the first baseman, famous first baseman with the New York Yankees, met a young friend. It was actually the son of a good friend of his in his neighborhood many years ago. But he met this gentleman, Howard Henderson, and they began to play pitch every afternoon in the yard. And he gave him a glove one day, and he signed it to Howard. I hope you have as much luck as I did with this glove, signed it Lou Gehrig. Well, this week, that glove's going to be auctioned off for $200,000 to $300,000. It's owned by that man I just told you. That man you're looking at right there, Howard Henderson. He's 92 years old, lives in Connecticut. But what a great item to have. I don't know if I could sell that. I guess maybe if I was 92 I could, but what a great story there. Lou Gehrig, famous first baseman with the New York Yankees. Everybody out and about this weekend, water sports is the biggest pastime for the July 4th weekend, not only here along the Oconee River, but Lake Sinclair, Lake Oconee, Lake Lanier, also a lot of private ponds in the area. We love to be around water, don't we? Well, let's be smart. First of all, be a safe swimmer. Know what you're doing. Be safe. Know your surroundings. Never swim alone. You can never swim alone. Always remember the buddy system. And kids should be supervised at all times. Fireworks is a big part of our July 4th weekend. You're going to hear them popping and going off all over your neighborhood probably all weekend. You got to be safe. Going back to those kids, do not let them be around those fireworks. Keep them back at a safe distance, just like your spectators, young and old alike. Keep them away from the fireworks. And alcohol and fireworks usually do not go together. So please do not, we always say don't drink and drive. Do not use fireworks with alcohol. It's a deadly combination, dangerous to say the least. And we want to tell you, on that same alcohol, as I said, you don't drink and drive. Use a designated driver. When it comes to food, keep food and beverages covered at all times. You've got to. Wasp and bees, all you're doing is attracting them, and they're going to end up stinging somebody, and it's just going to make your July 4th weekend not so happy at all. Always wear shoes or flip-flops or something around the water. You never know what's around. And avoid fragrance body products, bright colors, and sugary drinks. Going back to those wasp and bees, that's what they do, is they draw those kind of things to you. So you got to be careful. And those bright colors drawing the sun to you. along with that, apply sunscreen. You've got to before and during and after your activities because sweating out in this hot weather, you don't know how long it'll be there, but make sure you keep applying, young and old, because number one, down the road, first of all, premature aging. Second of all, as I can tell you from personal experience of years in the sun, skin cancer. You do not want to have a meeting with the dermatologist. I can tell you from personal experience. Please, please, I should have a hat on right now. You couldn't see my face on television, but I am actually out here under a shade right by the Oconee River. But you still need to keep those hats on and keep that sunscreen because skin cancer down the road, I'm telling you, you're going to pay the price if you don't keep it on there. So just make sure you keep an SPF of a minimum of 15. There's all kind of debate about that, but a very bare minimum of 15. Try to stay out of the sun. Wear some wide brim hats if you're working, and please stay hydrated. Don't leave your picnic spread out all day. A lot of people, you fire up the grill in the morning, you got food out everywhere, and you leave it out all day. All you're doing is encouraging foodborne diseases. You must cover it up. You got to because, and according to the U.S. Federal Drug Administration, they say not more than an hour when it's 90 degrees or above. If it's under 90 degrees, they say 2 hours max. So please, put the food in the refrigerator, put it in the cooler if you're out at the lake or the river or whatever, but do not leave that food out. You're going to draw gnats and flies, stuff like that. Plus, you're going to have a problem. You're probably going to have some sick people in your party. So make sure you keep that spread covered up. And if you're on our lakes and waterways, you better be safe. There's some new laws out there. You got to wear a flotation device. You got to. Once that boat flips or you're out, it's too late. It's Katie bar the door, I'm sure. So we want to make sure we understand all these rules and laws and to find out how to be safe around our waterways. And for that, I always turn to Corporal Dan Stiles with the Department of Natural Resources. He's always got the answers we need. Okay, I have with me Corporal Dan Stiles with the Department of Natural Resources. You've joined me many times here on TV 35, and I know you're busy this 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, we're getting ready to get busy.
We were cutting up off the air about being off on 4th of July. Y'all never get the 4th of July off.
That's right, unless it was something catastrophic. The Rangers are going to be out working over the 4th of July holiday.
And we're here today. A lot of people are going to be on the waterways, and we're on a private pond today here in Lawrence County, and we concentrate on going to Lake Sinclair, Lake Oconee, or things like that to be safe. But an accident can happen on a private pond just as easily as it can those other waterways, can it?
Absolutely. When you're on a private pond, the laws don't apply as far as life jackets. Operating vessels, people are drinking just as much as they are anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So you have to be cautious. The dangers are still there. Drownings are one of the biggest accidents or causes of deaths over the 4th of July as far as boating and water sports are concerned. So we just caution people to exercise caution. Even on private waters, keep an eye on children especially.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it's not a requirement on private waters, a life jacket is still a good idea in certain situations.
Oh, yeah, because you and I can swim great, but and the bass are really jumping here in this pond this morning, but things happen so quick, and
that's right.
We've had drownings right here in our community. You and I were talking the other day,
yes.
Local ponds, and y'all go out and investigate each time there's a drowning. Is that right? Maybe not in a swimming pool, but in local water.
But local, obviously state waters, but even private ponds, things like that, we still investigate those drownings.
Okay, we do have some new laws. We've been running the PSAs this week here on the TV station, but one of them is on flotation devices. Tell us about that.
Okay. Last year in May, there was a change in the law as far as life jacket requirements for children. The law used to be any child under the age of 10 was required to have a personal flotation device or life jacket on when a vessel was underway or moving. Mm-hmm. That has been changed as of last May. It's been a little over a year now. Mm-hmm. To the age of under the age of 13, they're required to have one on in a moving vessel. So if people were aware of the previous law, there's a lot of people out there that they're going to have a life jacket on their child no matter what. But it is a law if they're under the age of 13 in a moving vessel, unless that vessel is moored or at anchor, they're required to have that life jacket on. And it has to be a Coast Guard approved life jacket. I've seen on the rivers, parents will have a small child, under 2 years of age on the water, and they'll go to Walmart and pick them up something that's more suited to a swimming pool, and they're thinking that it's going to save their life, but it may not. If the child fell in the water, they may not float with their face up. So It's important to have a Coast Guard approved and make sure that it fits the child properly. An adult size life jacket on a small child, if their hands go above their head, you're moving and they hit the water at any rate of speed, that life jacket's coming off.
That's right, right over your head probably.
That's right.
Good point. I learned something there, because these little floaties that we call parents and grandparents,
right.
We put them on, we hop in the pool. I mean, hey, they hold them up there.
That's
Why
right.
won't they hold them in the river or the lake?
Yeah, that's right.
But that does make a lot of sense there. How about boating under the influence?
Okay, last January, the law changed on that effective January 1st of 2014. The per se blood alcohol amount was reduced from 0.10 to 0.08. So the same blood alcohol content to be illegal to drive applies also to boating. Also, even though you may not be at a 0.08, if you're under the influence of alcohol to a degree that you're unsafe, you can still be charged with boating under the influence.
Is that something you have a big problem with? Because I know I talked to a lot of law enforcement. The DUI laws have really helped our community. They catch a lot less people drinking and driving. Is that the case on the water?
In our area right now, I can't speak for the major reservoirs. I know they're still making cases on boating under the influence, unfortunately, and some on the rivers. Here locally, I've noticed, I'm not saying it's due to my patrolling or the laws, but people are consuming less alcohol on the river. We haven't had any in Lawrence County on the river. Haven't had anybody recently charged with boating under the influence. So it's encouraging. People are being safer on the water. I believe it's a good thing.
Yep, it's definitely a good for all of us, because we've heard the stories, Lake Lanier, places like
That's
that,
right.
where even Usher, the famous singer, his son or stepson,
Right.
was killed in a boating type accident. So
Right.
it can happen to anybody. There's no doubt.
And there was another high-profile case where there were two young boys, teenage boys, that were killed on Lake Lanier due to another operator boating under the influence.
Not paying attention.
Right.
Yeah, and mixing alcohol, that's not good.
That's right.
We think, another thing, safety on the water. When we think we're in the water, we're hydrated. Well, this weekend it's going to be heat index over 100 degrees.
That's right.
That's hot. And you could be in, whether it's a little John boat, aluminum boat, pontoon boat, it's hot out there. So we need to stay hydrated.
That's right.
And that don't mean alcohol or soft drinks or
Right.
things like that. I know you run into a lot of that.
Yeah, heat stress injuries are serious for people who are out recreating as well as people who are working. The old adage, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. You're on the water, on the river. Make sure you've got some water or a sports drink, things to keep yourself hydrated so that if you don't have a heat-related injury. Transportation to a medical facility can be very critical at that point. And if you're on the water, having to make a 30-minute boat run, that person could suffer some medical issues.
And wildlife, and both of us, we love wildlife, respect wildlife, and we want everybody, especially this weekend, so many people on the water, local
Right.
pond, Lake Sinclair, whatever. Be careful for our wildlife.
That's right.
You can run over them and kill them, and that's not good either. I mean,
Right. Well, respecting wildlife on the water, not running up on birds to scare them with your boat. Shooting turtles or snakes just
Right.
because they're there. Things like that are important. Also, litter is an important thing to protect wildlife. That discarded fishing line, people don't realize how often we get calls about waterfowl and other birds caught up in fishing line, also plastics, things like that. So just be cautious, or not cautious, but just observant of where your trash is. bring a bag with you to keep it in. That goes a long way to help protect our waterways and our wildlife.
Being a good steward of our land.
That's right.
Because we've had it. We're turning 238 years old
That's
this
right.
week, so we've taken care of it that long. So that's a good point. Bottle caps and,
That's
and
right.
little because they're shiny and pretty and mallards
right.
or whatever,
Right. Wildlife can ingest that type of thing. And also it's a safety thing. You got glass bottles on the water. Them things can become broken, and nobody wants their child to step on something and cut their foot hanging out on a sandbar trying to have a good time.
Okay, and a final word. We want to make it through this weekend. We want everybody safe. I know you don't want to be out there. You're working all weekend. You don't want to inconvenience someone by having to lock them up,
Right.
and you have to do that at times. That's your job.
That's right.
And children there, we need to remember that. Our kids are on that boat or on that waterway. So what would be a final word to the citizens here in Lawrence County?
Just be safe. Have a great time. I don't know what the river stages are going to bring locally, but whether you're on a lake or a private pond or the river, just be cautious. Have someone, definitely, if you are going to have alcohol with your outing, make sure you got a sober operator. Have a responsible adult, if you got children, to be watching out for those potential dangers. There's nothing worse than ruining a wonderful weekend with friends and family over something silly that could be avoided.
That's right. Corporal Dan Stiles, happy 4th of July. Always, we appreciate you helping us out here on TV 35.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.
Okay. And on this Independence Day weekend, I hope everybody's having a great weekend, a safe weekend. We don't want to forget our military, because these 238 years in existence for the United States of America, it has been our military. Our men and women of the armed forces have kept us independent all these years, y'all. We have weathered many storms throughout the years, and a lot of our men and women have paid the ultimate price. And one of the most exciting things and the best things that I get to do here at the TV station is to visit our VA hospital. Y'all don't know how fortunate we are. It serves 52 counties all over middle Georgia. But y'all don't know how fortunate we are to have the VA hospital, not only for the employees, our friends and neighbors who have jobs there, but the people that stay at the VA that have served our military. Some have paid the ultimate price. They have gone on. But a lot of these people are out at the VA hospital. Go by and see it sometime. Let me tell you, to all our veterans out at the VA hospital, some of them dedicated viewers, I talk to you a lot, we want to wish you a personal happy 4th of July, a great Independence Day weekend. We thank you for everything you do, all your service, and for keeping us safe, so we can stand here without fear of any harm and have this great weekend with our friends and families, and we owe it all to you.